Hey, thank you for joining. In this video, we are going to take this Arduino board and turn it into a virtual dice roller. Let's get started. Okay, and let's start with a small surprise. So we are actually going to write this code in this simulated environment. And once we are happy with the code, we'll take it and transfer it to the actual device. But first, we are going to do the actual coding programming in this environment. And basically, you have all the important parts here. You have a bunch of LEDs, a push button, and the Arduino. And you can't really see the connections here because if I had to run all the wires, it would be totally cluttered. But instead, each of the components has the number of the pin that it's connected to. So for instance, this LED here on the top is connected to pin number 2 of the Arduino. So if I were to draw this, that would be something like this kind of connection. Well, maybe better. And then another one for connecting it to the ground. And I would also put here a resistor just to make sure that it doesn't blow up the LED or the current from the Arduino. But basically, just by looking at these numbers, you can know what the connections would look like. And as you can see here, the LEDs are arranged in a pattern. And what we're going to do here, we are going to display the standard Dice Pip pattern. We're going to use these patterns here. So whenever we want to display one, we will simply highlight this LED in the middle. Whenever we want to display two, we'll highlight LEDs 2 and 8, like those two diagonally. And then for 3, we will light all these 3 and etc. So basically display one of these patterns here on these LEDs just by highlighting them. Let's get to the code. So the first thing I'm doing when I'm starting a new Arduino program is always creating this very simple program just to test my setup. And if you have seen some Arduino code, you will probably recognize it. I'm going to do the blink, and let's do it with this LED number 5, this one in the middle. So pin mode 5 output, and then I want to write there high, so it turns on, delay 1 second, and then write low to switch it off, and delay for another second. And as soon as I run it, I would expect this LED to blink. So let's do this. And the program is running and nothing happens. Yeah, my bad. I should have written here 5 and not 1 because the LED is connected to pin number 5 here. Let's try that again. So yeah, now you can see that this nice LED here in the middle is blinking, and I know that my setup is working. And now I can start writing the logic for the program. So the first thing we want to do, we want to be able to display all those Dice Pip patterns that I showed you before on these red LEDs. And in order to do that, I have to make sure all of them are in the output mode. So I'm going to do this. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now there is, I could also use for loop to make this simpler. So basically I goes from 2, and then I goes until 8, increment I. And then pin mode I output. So basically this is the equivalent of what I just wrote above, but a lot less lines. And now let's just do another quick check. Let's check number 3. It should be blinking now. Yes. So now that I have all the red LEDs set as output, I can go ahead and write another function. I will call it displayNumber, that takes one number, and it should display this number on the red LEDs using the standard pip pattern. So the first thing I want to do before I display number, I want to make sure that all these LEDs are off. So basically I can use the same loop from here, and instead of pin mode, just say digital write I low, basically switching all the LEDs from 2 to 8 off. And then I can write this switch statement, which will allow me to perform a different action based on the number that I get. So for instance, if I get a number 1, I want to display the pattern that represents number 1, which means that I want this LED in the middle to be on. So I'm going to write digital write 5 high. And let's format the code and let's test it. Basically, I'm going to try to call this function displayNumber with 1, and I expect it to switch LED number 1 on. Let's run it. Yep, it switches it on. Perfect. And then all I have to do is just add the rest of the numbers. So for 2, I want LEDs 2 and 8 to be high. So let's do that. So 2 and 8. And you may notice that I put this break statement after each case. I need to do that because this code is written in C++. And in the C++ language, if you don't put this break, what will happen is basically it will continue running the code to the next case. Let me show you. Even though the number here is going to be 1, it will actually turn on all these 3 LEDs, because when it sees the number 1, it goes to this case and it starts running the code all the way until it says some break. And since I removed this break, it continued to case number 2. Now, when I restore this break, you can see it only lights LED number 5. So basically we have 1, let's check 2. Yes, 2 is working as well. And then we can use the same logic to create 3, which is basically 2 plus 1, 2, 5, and 8. And number 4, which is 2, 3, so 2, 3, 8, 7, 8. 2, 3, 7, 8. And then I'm going to do case 5. So for the number 5, it's just like 4, 2, 3, 7, 8, and 5. So let's add 5. And then the final one is displaying number 6. And for number 6, I want, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So basically everything except for 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. And this is case 6. So basically I got this huge method called displayNumber, and it takes a number and it should display it here on the red LEDs using the Dice Pip pattern. Let's write a small test code to test it, basically going from all the numbers from 1 to 6 and displaying them one after the other. Display number and then delay, let's say, half a second. So displaying the number and delay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hooray! This works. Perfect. Okay, so that was it for today. In the next part, we are going to take this very long displayNumber function and make it a little shorter, like from 20 something or 30 lines of code to only 7 lines of code. And then we are going to see how to add like the random and to make it interact only when you press on the button and all of that interesting features. And finally, at some point when we'll be happy with the code, we'll upload it to this nice setup that I built for you here. So I hope that you enjoyed and learned something new today, and see you back soon. Bye-bye!